He was, 10 of 16? Oh, all right.
What is up, everybody? Sorry, I just got a funny DM that I could not laugh at. It is Tuesday night at 9:30 on the East Coast. We're coming at you live to cover the West Coast Conference. So for all you West Coast people, you're probably not even having dinner yet, and you can hear it from East Coast people telling you who's going to be taking home that trophy. And then we also have the Ohio Valley Conference as well. That'll be the second one we're getting into, coming at you back-to-back nights live. You already know, since it's conference tournament season, we're itching to be giving out more predictions, more picks. Tonight might be a little tough to have some plus money odds, so this might be the one and only show where the favorites might be a little bit too strong to make a case against. But as you already know, the show is powered and sponsored by Daily Bread Media. We're currently live on @Paid for Play, and we're live at Daily Bread Media on YouTube. So if you're checking us out on YouTube, definitely be giving us your predictions, your best bets, because we're going to follow the same segments as yesterday. I'll get into that more later. Make sure to like, retweet, subscribe, whatever the hell you want to do. Shout out Fernando, first comment in today's show. But Spin, how are you doing on this Tuesday?
Doing good. My Spaces plays from today are right on pace to have another sweep. So that would be 8-1 since Sunday. So I'm very happy about that. Took a bad beat on a VIP play earlier, but plenty of action left for the evening. And it's time to talk hoops here and my other favorite tradition, which is live betting West Coast basketball deep into the night. Nothing like it.
Steven, I know you're still going through that grind. It's only day 2, and you're already sweating and feeling it because you're the crazy man that decided to bet every conference game. But how you doing on this Tuesday?
Gamblers respect.
I feel like I'm going to be 65 by the time we get to March 16th or whatever it is. But not. I mean, we all know the line. This is March. Finally, March 1st. We love to see it. A ton of close games today. I'm hoping to get some more of the same in the conferences we're talking about today.
Yes, sir. So we had some of your smaller ones. If you missed yesterday's episode, we had the A-Sun, and we did the Sun Belt. The Sun Belt still doesn't tip till Thursday, so you still have enough time if this is your first time tapping in with us, or if you just want to go back, because we each are rocking the same plus 430 future. And I saw in some books today even, they're more local books, but that's already down to plus 250. So definitely be shopping these lines around for conference tournament. And for what we're going to be planning for each conference that we do, we're going to tell you a long shot that you can back for the odds outright, upsets to watch for, so underdogs that we think could pick a game but not win the entire conference outright. What's our favorite matchup going to be, or what's going to be the best game to bet, then the semis and the finals. And if we have any futures tickets locked in, we have future tickets locked in from yesterday, and I don't believe any of our teams have been eliminated from the A-Sun or the Sun Belt. So it's a good start. Good start. We're one day. We made it one day.
24 hours in, and they're all still there.
Shout out to D-Rock, another one of our guys who's coming in with us as well. He'll be here for the Big 10 episode. But there's only one way to start it off here. We got to go to the WCC. I wanted to do this one second. The fellows wanted to do this one first because they think they have more thoughts on the OVC. I have a bunch of thoughts here because we have the infamous Las Vegas quadruple bye coming into here. So I rather give teams home court for first place than have a quadruple bye from yesterday's conversation. That's the easiest fact in here. But essentially, you're just completely, I guess this is the way of not giving a team home court. If you want to be at the bottom and only win 5 conference games, you have to win like 5 games in a row to become the champion, back-to-back days, which is almost impossible. But follow us on @Pay for Play. You can pull up our tweet. We have the bracket. We have the odds. We have everything that way. Not much to give it out with Gonzaga, St. Mary's having the biggest advantage. San Francisco and Santa Clara having the second most. And if you really need me to read the odds, Gonzaga is basically at minus 400. St. Mary's is at plus 500. So that's even tough to try to back, even though they did have the most outright win, which Spin had the plus 10 on. And then you have Santa Clara at 1,400, San Francisco at plus 3,000. Steven, we'll let you start this one off. Who are you crossing off instantly other than Pacific?
I'm crossing off everybody below San Francisco. If you're not one of the first 4 seeds that has at least a triple bye, you're out of here. BYU does not have the size. Nobody else has enough shooting to match any combination of Santa Clara, St. Mary's, San Francisco, or Gonzaga. So those other, whatever it is, 6 teams that aren't in the top 4, they're all out of here. They're just playing to see if they can maybe sneak their way into a CBI or an NIT type bid.
Yep. Yeah, I got to go with that one. I don't really care what the odds are for BYU. They have, as Steven said, when they play any team that has any size whatsoever, which in the top 4, there are plenty of there's plenty of that. They just don't have it. So there's just nobody below San Francisco that I could even see making a reasonable run. And I just wanted to go back, Rex, to what you were saying. Yeah, the triple bye is the effing stupidest format that I've ever seen. This actually works for anybody that's been in a bowling tournament before. This when you do a ladder bowling tournament and you get the top 16 seeds and the 16 plays 15 and then the winner plays 14 and so on. That works when you're in like a bowling, like Saturday morning or afternoon fun league where you drink more beer than you do actually bowl. In a mid-major, in which several major teams here, conference tournament to decide an NCAA bid. I mean, does Gonzaga really need any more advantages? I don't.
5 years ago they did, and that's the whole reason why they
Exactly.
got to it, which is where I think you're going to get to is beforehand, the WCC needed that money that badly and couldn't and hate it when St. Mary's upset at Gonzaga to go dancing back in the early 2000s. It's the sole reason why it's like it.
Yeah, I just, this is my least favorite conference tournament format of every single one that we're going to cover. And it's honestly, it's not even really that close, but to go back to your question. Yeah. Everybody, what Steven said, everybody below San Francisco gone. No chance.
Well, I guess I have a different answer for you. I'm crossing off Gonzaga. I'm crossing off St. Mary's, and I'm crossing off every single team except for Santa Clara and San Francisco. It's essentially the only way I can look at it. St. Mary's, I can probably get a better money line on them. Not better, but head-to-head against Gonzaga and don't have to sweat that extra game against Santa Clara, which might be a little bit sweatier than they're expecting it to be. So that's just kind of where San Francisco and Santa Clara, they just have to get lucky enough. And I think they would both be higher than plus 1,400 and 3,000 on the money line when they play Gonzaga or St. Mary's respectively. And you're essentially taking a 1-game money line ticket and hedging out on the other side if you do decide to do one, do or die. Minus 400, I'll never tell someone to invest in it, even though how much easy money it does seem to be.
If any capper tells you to invest in a ticket at that price in Gonzaga, then you should immediately unfollow them and block all of their tweets because they have no idea what the F they're talking about. That's just straight truth right now.
So when we're getting for upsets to watch for, who thinks there could be an upset here? Does anyone think Gonzaga can go down, or do you have an upset earlier in the bracket? So it's whatever way you guys want to start. We can start early in the bracket with an upset to watch for, or because we saved the semis for the end. Let's wait for if Gonzaga goes down. But Steven, do you have an early round upset?
I guess if you want to call it an upset, I could potentially see San Diego coming in and beating Portland. Granted, it's just a 7-6 in the second round, but That's probably the closest thing to an upset I could see. I don't see Pepperdine getting any wins. I know Loyola Marymount was bad in conference. I don't see Pacific beating them. Actually, you know what? I guess I could potentially see BYU going down in their first game. I think
There
Loyola
you go. That's the
Marymount's-
one that I had circled for.
I think
earlier on.
Marymount's physical enough and can body them enough inside where they could pull off an 8 over a 5 in the second round. I guess that would be my upset.
Yeah, see, and I actually think that BYU is going to go down as well, but I have it the other way. I actually have Pacific. I actually like Pacific a lot more than I know a lot of people do. I think that what I like about them is defensively. I talked about this last night, and I'll keep talking about it as long as we do these shows. Is third in the West Coast Conference in forcing turnovers, 18.4% of possessions, and they do a pretty good job of taking care of the ball as well. They're top half of the conference in protecting it at 15.8%. The other thing that I like about Pacific here too is that they are a pretty good team at keeping at defensive rebounding. So when you get a team like, let's just go with Loyola Marymount, very average shooting team, has actually been shooting a lot poorly lately. And you get a team like that you can make one and done. You have a good shot to win when you only hold them to one shot on the other end. Loyola Marymount defense as well, dead last in multiple metrics across the conference, including defensive efficiency, EFG, which they're almost allowing 60%. So I actually think that Pacific edges here, and I can very, very easily, because they've already done it once this year, I can see Pacific on a neutral floor beating BYU. So that's the one that I'm going to call now. And then there would be no shot that they would get past San Francisco.
Yeah, I like that we're getting our Pacific and Loyola talk in, because it's going to get done pretty quickly once they run into the Dons. And it's kind of where Loyola Marymount, a lot of people, I don't want to say just remember last year's team. They do have the player with the best hair in the league with Leo Pape.
Oh, yeah.
They were 9-7 and looking kind of all right. And then went on a terrible 10-game losing streak, which just kind of shot their whole season in the foot. They beat Pacific in the last game of the season. They get them to get the double-digit wins. But it's kind of like the narrative that we've seen a few times that we're going to get to with Gonzaga and St. Mary's later. How much are you going to show your hand when you know you're going to see the team once again? And in this one, it's literally the first round. So with Pacific having to travel onto the road, the game ended up being 90-77 when the first time they met this year. What did that go to? It was the buzzer beater, 69-68. So I just literally think you saw Pacific kind of just do an open gym. We're just going to go out there. We're in our spot. We can't really move up or down that much. I kind of spin after talking about this more. I can see the Pacific angle a little bit more, but I'm still going to rock with Loyola Marymount to find some semblance.
No, I get it. I get it. I can see. I would not be surprised if the Loyola and Pacific game is a one possession game. Would not be surprised if it goes into overtime. I can see it being just a back and forth battle. Absolutely.
Yeah,
If BYU does survive their game, do they have any chance of taking down the Dons?
No.
I've actually and I had to I always talk about how I check my Bill Self bias and my Rick Barnes bias. I actually had to check my BYU bias because honestly, as far as being a team that I want to invest any money in, I actually wrote them off close to 3 weeks ago, just because of a stretch that they had where not only did they lose to Gonzaga, but they also lost to Pacific, and they just had some ugly performances, and you just saw how bad they get beat by any team with size. They just cannot handle size in any shape or form. And teams know that now. So now when you're getting the second or third time in some cases, time that you're seeing a team, it's not that their coaching staff is doing a bad job or not making adjustments. There's just no adjustments that you can make. You know, it's like you look at your roster and you know you don't have the personnel, and as a coach, that's kind of deflating. When you know that like we can scheme it all we want, we can game plan all we want, we can do this, do that, do a bunch of different things, but teams are just going to beat the shit out of us on the inside, and there's nothing we can do.
All right. So then I guess the one other thing, what's our best matchup to watch for before the semifinals? Is there one?
I mean, I'd say if we get the Portland San Diego matchup, I think that would be a close game, not necessarily like a super high talent, like really good game to watch. But I
Not a
think
good
it'll
game,
be
but a close game.
yeah, I think it'll be a close game that'll be fun to watch at the end. Like I think it'll come down to that final possession or two, and it'll be like a nice little sweat, something interesting people can get behind a little bit. But I don't see any real like good, super high quality matchups happening really before the semifinals.
No, probably not. To your point about Portland and San Diego, Stephen, yeah, I would agree with you on that one. The other thing is just super weird scores for this game for those two teams. First time San Diego won in overtime, and then the second time Portland just they had their best shooting performance of the year by like a mile. They shot 63% from the field. Their EFG was in the 70s, which is one of the best single game performances of the season in any college basketball game. They scored 92 points and beat the hell out of them by 30. So as far as like predicting this next one, if they happen to meet again, which I think that they will, who knows? I mean, I would lean Portland on that one, but I would agree it would probably be a pretty close game.
Yeah, same here. I just am waiting to get to the semis. So let's get to the semis. Do all of us have the top four? It's San Francisco, Gonzaga, Santa Clara, St. Mary's, or do we have any difference?
100%.
Whew, all right. Never a good sign when none of us are going with the top four there. It's to the same point with Veronic. He shows up against anyone that's not named Gonzaga, St. Mary's. So that's kind of where in the Santa Clara game against St. Mary's, I'm going to rock with the Broncos to pull out the dub here. And it's because Jalen Williams, both times he faced St. Mary's so far this season, he put up 18 points in each game. And that's kind of where when Veronic had it in the game that they had it close, where they blew the lead, or not blew the lead. He only had 18, and the other time they matched up, he didn't break 10. So that's just kind of where with Veronic kind of getting more back to full health at this point of the season. He's had over 15 games to get back to it. It's just St. Mary's can scheme for him so well when you're so one-dimensional with him and Jalen Williams, where you just need a point guard to stop him. I just hope Veronic can get healthy, or not get healthy, get hot here and get through St. Mary's. It's not a confident pick here, but if I had to pick my upset for it for the whole tournament, it would be Santa Clara over St. Mary's.
Right there with you. I had that one penciled in as well. I love a lot of what Santa Clara does. And because they've been largely irrelevant in the West Coast Conference for so long, because when you think when a lot of more casual fans, and this is not a knock, think West Coast Conference, just because, especially ones that are Central and Eastern time zone, since they're usually not up late to watch those games, you think Gonzaga and St. Mary's, Gonzaga, St. Mary's, Gonzaga, and I get it, because those are the two teams that typically qualify for the dance. But Santa Clara has just done one hell of a job of building their program into a moment, hopefully like this, where, maybe they're not going to beat Gonzaga, but they've already got 20 wins. Now I don't think that they're going to get an at-large bid, but you make the West Coast Tournament Championship. Now you start talking NIT bid, and that would be a really, really nice, thing for this program, which has been very, very spotty for a number of years.
And the reason why they weren't spotty this year is it's the first time in a long time they didn't take a bad WCC loss. Mm-hmm. They lost both times to San Francisco. It happens. I'm high on the Dons. I just kind of wish that they got the 4 seed more than the 3 seed, so that they didn't have to run into Gonzaga. That's just kind of where I wish the Dons, because then I would be a lot higher in their future. But yeah, Steven, do you think St. Mary's takes down Santa Clara, or do you what do you have on that side?
On that side, I do like Santa Clara. I like how many weapons they have when they're fully healthy. Like when they got their 5 starters out on the court, you got 4 guys that average 12 and a half points or higher. So they're not a team where anybody can go out and just try to double one guy because there's enough weapons where anybody can burn you. And well, I think St. Mary's has a good defense and they have a couple scores that are good enough. I don't think they have enough weapons to match up with a Santa Clara team on a neutral court.
Yeah, it's one thing that I've just loved watching with Santa Clara this year is just their overall efficiency on offense. It's rivaled only by Gonzaga, and not even necessarily. I mean, they're shooting. I mean, the metrics support it. So shooting second in EFG, they shoot almost 56%. They're second in 3-point percentage. Again, all these metrics are just behind Gonzaga, but it's just the way that they move the ball and the way that they utilize their guys in spots. They do what the coach in me likes to call is creating good shots for each other. And so they put each other in spots where they're taking good shots and then they make them. And that is something that sadly not as many teams as I would like do that in college basketball, but Santa Clara does. And so as a fan, as a bettor for sure, and as a coach, you just like to watch them because they play solid fundamental basketball.
And it just could end up being their defense that gets them, where their defense isn't poor, very just middle of the pack. It's just kind of where St. Mary's and Gonzaga just ranks that little bit higher, where even if their offense does peak and does the best, if the other team's defense clicking is enough, I still think Santa Clara gets through, but I wouldn't be shocked if St. Mary's does end up coming through since they will be the easy favorites there. The Dons, they're getting their third chance at Gonzaga. Lost by double digits, never close in either of them. 16 actually both times. They were my team. I wanted them to get it to the WCC championship because that's the only time I thought they had a shot. They are just so... Their defense is so good, except for when they play Gonzaga. Then Gonzaga's just like, we don't give a hell. Like, we're just going to run our usual offense. There's nothing different. It's because they don't have the size to try to stop them. With Tape, he can't play more than 50 minutes a game because he usually gets in foul trouble. And then Molesky, he just doesn't have the inside presence to be able to bang with Timmy. It's just kind of where if they can get Timmy to be completely one-dimensional and just hope Chet gets cold, that's the only way I see it with Bouye just going 7 for 14 from 3, which isn't his game whatsoever. No. So that's just kind of where I think for San Francisco to win this way and how they've done so well this season, they kind of have to play outside and different of their usual style to be able to beat Gonzaga because their style mimics Gonzaga. They just have weaker talent.
Yeah. No, I was going to ask that question for you, Rex, is that, you know, when things get hectic and Gonzaga starts making a run, which is what I've seen from Bouye a couple times this year, whether it's Gonzaga or any team, he can resort to playground ball, to YMCA chucking. And obviously in a conference tournament semifinal, that's especially against a team like Gonzaga, that's not going to work. But can we trust him to trust in his system when things start to get hectic against a team like Gonzaga? I haven't seen it this year, so I don't know if I can. And Gonzaga has this way of just, you know, they rattle off 8 points, 10 points here and there. They get a couple stops and boom, boom, boom. You go from a close game to you're down 12. And that's where you got to maintain your composure and you have to not do things like that. But everything I've seen from Bouye is, as talented as he is, he can become a chucker pretty easily.
If Mark Few loses to Todd Golden in his third year coaching, first one not affected by COVID in this tournament, holy shit. That's the only thing I have to say. Steven, you've been quiet on this matchup. You think it's a Gonzaga roll spot?
No. I'm going to be the guy who says it. I mean, we got to have this take out there somewhere. I really do think San Francisco can win. I mean, Bouye and Shabazz are really good senior guards. I think that could be something that affects Gonzaga just a little bit because, well, Gonzaga is really good. They're starting to get younger than they used to be. Granted, the caliber of players is better, but the age is a little younger, playing in some conference tournament games against a better WCC than Gonzaga is used to. By better, I really just mean a little bit deeper at the top. Masalski can be the forward that scores with either a Timmy or a Holmgren. He can put up probably 16 to 18. And then it's just, I think San Francisco just has enough bodies to throw at Gonzaga that can just kind of go in and just take fouls and not give Timmy or Holmgren anything easy, with like Josh Coonan after Patrick Tape. Zane Meeks is a bigger body who scores a little bit, but would be better just as a guy to be physical with those guys. And then you got Markovetsky, who doesn't play a lot, but at the same time, he's 7'1" and can come in and rebound or just be a big body against them. I think San Francisco has enough weapons to just keep rotating guys in and throwing them at Gonzaga to keep them off their game. And then we know what senior backcourts do in March, and it's something Gonzaga doesn't have. I think San Francisco can come in and pull off the upset in the semifinals.
Calling the shot. I love it.
We need someone to do it because I wasn't going to be able to go out with it because I have Gonzaga winning it all.
Yeah. Yeah. And to be totally honest, like I hope I'm wrong. Like I hope it happens. I really do, because I would love to see a Santa Clara and San Francisco final. That to me would be like my dream matchup in this tournament.
I also feel like there's going to be just a little bit of rust to Gonzaga, because again, outside of Timmy, you got a bunch of freshmen and sophomores playing in their first conference tournament with real fans as a college player. And you'll have San Francisco coming in pretty hot off what should be a comfortable win over BYU. I think Gonzaga can. I think there's a good chance where they go down early in the first half, because San Francisco will have the game under their belt. I think Gonzaga might sleepwalk early in the game, and it all just comes down to how well can they make that run, and can San Francisco stop it is going to determine who wins that game.
Steven, who's your winner?
Santa Clara.
Wow.
I think it's tough to beat a team three times when they're pretty evenly matched. So since I do believe San Francisco can get the upset in the semifinals, I think Santa Clara, with their balanced offense, can come in the championship game and just make sure San Francisco doesn't beat them three times and get the win when it really matters and take home that WCC championship and get just another extra team a bid in that conference.
I was about to say that'd be a huge bracket buster for a bunch of people there as Santa Clara or San Francisco ends up stealing a bid, because it's almost chalked in that St. Mary's and Gonzaga both make it at this time. All right, let's go into the OVC, where there could be, I guess, a little bit more of contention in it, even though we do have Murray State as slight favorites, I guess bigger favorites, sitting at -175 on most of your books out there. Once again, we do not have a home court advantage. All of this is in Evansville. So I don't know how much of an advantage, if it is to anybody in the conference tournament other than Belmont and Murray. Moorhead travels a little bit, but none of the three schools have the fan bases that travel. So that's kind of where you got Murray sitting at -175, Belmont at +240, Moorhead at +900, and then all the rest of the squads you have sitting at +1800 or more. And personally, where I'm crossing off the list, if your name's not Belmont, Murray, or Moorhead, you don't have a chance.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a slight case for SEMO. A very slight case for SEMO. I'm not going to totally cross them off. So they are one of the best. They're not Belmont and Murray State, but they are the next best offensive team when it comes to efficiency, when it comes to shooting, and when it comes to not turning the ball over. I mean, I'm banging on the drum here, but third least turnovers in conference games. They're also the best team in the conference at getting to the free throw line. Where they struggle is on the defensive end. So not only do they shoot a lot of free throws, but they also put teams on the line a lot. They're eighth in both EFG and defensive efficiency. So I think that if SEMO happens to catch a higher seeded team on a cold night, or on a night where they might be just a little bit off, I've watched their offense enough where I think that their offense might be able to nip somebody. Like I said, it's not something I'm going to rush to the window to bet. And I'm certainly not going to advocate like putting units upon units on them, even at the plus 1800, because I don't think that there's enough value there. But I guess that would be one of my upset, is that I can see them knocking off a higher seed for sure.
Steven, this is one of your favorite conferences. Is there anyone that you're crossing off instantly, or can you make a case for everyone?
I'm crossing off everybody except Murray State. Sadly, I probably should cross them off because that's really not value, or there's definitely no value at minus 175. But I'm crossing off everybody besides Murray State and Morehead State. I think plus 240 for Belmont is terrible, considering that they're a little bit down this year. They have not played either of those other two top three teams well whatsoever. So to have them at plus 240 and Morehead State at plus 900, I would definitely cross off Belmont and then everybody else besides Murray State and Morehead State.
You don't think Belmont can potentially just get revenge, because they just got smoked both times against Murray? Neither of them were close. They just went on a 10-minute span of it just becoming terrible. So, Steven, since you like to monitor this conference, is there a potential upset in the first round or the second round?
I'll be honest, there's not a ton that I'm seeing. Hold on, I got to go back and see the bracket again. So actually, if Spin Dog wants to go first, will I a second time?
Spin, what upset are you targeting?
So I already talked about it, is that I could see, because actually, what seed is SEMO's the fourth, right? They're 4 seed, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So yeah, actually maybe not, because I can't see them.
No, their only
Murray
upset
State.
would be Murray State, so I couldn't see
Murray
that either.
State. No. I can see Morehead beating Belmont. That would be about that. That would be a potential upset that I could see. And then other ones, I could see. I could potentially see Tennessee Tech winning a game, but otherwise, like, we might be looking at just chalk here. Chalk to the semis.
Yeah, I could see Tennessee Tech beating Austin Peay. I could also sneaky see Tennessee State coming in and beating Southeast Missouri State, only because in the games I've watched with SEMO, they'll go on stretches where they can't miss a three and they look great. They'll also go on 8-minute stretches where they couldn't score a bucket to save their lives. And I think if they go on one of those bad runs, Tennessee State could come in and just find an upset there.
Damn. I don't know what it is. I think this Edwardsville team might just be a little bit sneakier and give. I know Goose is loving Tennessee Tech here. Their offense is putrid, so that's just kind of where this game would have to go under in the first round matchup here. But I just think they've mucked it up enough, and maybe Morehead State wasn't trying that hard at the last game of the season, but just getting that outright win against them was, I guess, just a little too much to give me too much to believe in. Sorry to Tennessee, Martin, and EIU. They just told you can't even compete in this. So I guess that's one thing about the OVC. Every team should get a shot.
Yeah, just have one first round game and then do quarterfinals and not give teams that triple bye.
So what's your favorite matchup that's not in the semis for this conference?
I guess it would have to be Austin Peay, Tennessee Tech. That just feels like a game where I don't really know who's going to win. Like everything else, I feel like I have a pretty clear idea of what I think is going to happen. This Austin P Tennessee Tech game just feels like the one game can't really get a read on. And I feel like that's just going to make it, it's going to end up being a close game either way. And whoever wins is going to get beat by Morehead State, but it'll be a fun 40 minutes for those two teams to get their one win in the tournament.
Spin, what's your matchup?
Yeah, it's probably the same as Steven. I other than that, I mean, I would like to think that SEMO could give Murray State a run for their money, but just defensively, they're just too weak. They're just, and so, I mean, SEMO would have to just be ablaze and Murray State would have to have an off night. And I just, too many things against them there.
This is why I just think this, as much as we like chalk in the last one, this seems like the easiest chalk that there is for here, because Morehead State, usually their mantra and their calling card isn't their offense. They do turn the ball over at a frequent rate, but they're the team that I was trying to look at who could potentially get upset, because I for sure think they can upset Belmont going into the semis, but I think their offense is still a little bit stagnant. They haven't taken too many poor losses, but it's still that Edwardsville loss at the end of the year just is hanging too much in my head. I might need better short-term memory here, but they just allowed them to put up one of their best offenses of the entire season on the road. Sure, they're on the road, but I don't know. I think Edwardsville could ride the hype and get a little early upset. That would be the one if I had to pick one, but I'm not confident in it whatsoever.
Suey.
All right, Steven, let's hear your semis and then your finals.
All right. Semifinals, it's got to be, I'm actually going to go Tennessee State, Murray State in the top half of the bracket, and then Belmont, Morehead State in the bottom half. And then in the championship game, I'm going to have Murray State, Morehead State. And am I giving out our champion yet, or are we going to wait?
Yeah, give out your winner.
All right, my winner's Morehead State. They had that
plus
game
900.
Yep, they had that game won the second time they played Murray State. They had it the majority of the way, and then they just kind of folded in the last couple minutes. I think if you give them another shot at that team in a championship game, I don't think they're going to squander another late lead like that.
Spin. Are you drinking the crazy juice with Steven, or are you rocking with Murray?
No, I got to rock with Murray here. So for my finals, I'm gonna have chalk. I'm gonna have the top four. As far as the championship goes, I'm gonna go Murray and Morehead as well, but I am gonna take Murray here. I think that even if it's a short spread, I would think that Morehead would cover and can be a one possession game, but Murray State just too good all around, just too good everywhere. So for me, if I'm going to take a flyer on a ticket here, I would agree with what we said before. Murray and Belmont are out of the question because there's no value there. So I think that there's some value on Morehead State for sure, but I am going to take just a slight flyer on SEMO at plus 1,800.
All right, get some fun money on SEMO. And this is where I don't agree with the odds, but I'm going to take Belmont to beat Murray State in the finals. I'm going to go out on that limb. Belmont kept it clean other than Morehead State and Murray State the whole conference season. It's hard to beat it 3 times. I know that mantra and that narrative always isn't true, especially the 2 times when you played against them where they didn't score for 10 minutes in one aspect, and the other one they put up 43 points. Tough to go at it. It's just that what we've talked about, Belmont's bringing back majority of seniors and juniors. They do have Will Richard as the freshman that contributes, but in a toss-up game, is Murray an auto bid? Because if Murray drops it, do they still get in without the conference tournament?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, then yep. Bracket buster, definitely in the OVC. I think Belmont comes out on top here. I'll go against the grain here. Murray, talent-wise, Belmont will just have to play out of their minds and just basically do what they didn't do the first 2 times they played against them.
I like it.
Anything else we got for this conference?
Not too much here. The only thing I've been saying that kind of goes against Belmont is I think when they have to play those good teams, like Nick Muszynski dominates bad teams, but when he goes up against teams with a good big man, he hasn't been really putting up the numbers. And if he's not drawing a double, their 3-point shooting isn't what it usually is, which is why I like the Morehead State matchup against them, and also why I like the Murray State matchup, because they both have solid all-conference big men that can just go one-on-one with Muszynski. And when you're taking him out of the question, I think that's why they look so much worse against those 2 teams than everybody else in the OVC.
All right. 40-minute stream it's looking like today. We spent the first 20 minutes talking about the WCC. The last 20 minutes we talked about the OVC. Smaller conferences because the OVC doesn't allow every team participate. The WCC gives you so many buys. So in these 2 conferences where it kind of looks like an arrow compared to your more traditional brackets, it's why we paired them together, run through them because we had heavy favorites in each. Surprisingly, we each didn't pick the outright favorite to go against it. So best of luck to us going out on those islands where going against Murray State and Gonzaga has not made you look too smart so far this season. So we'll be live at Spaces tomorrow, right around our usual lunchtime on the East Coast and Central, sometime between 11 to 12 Eastern, hopefully. And then tomorrow night, you got to stay up with us late. So you got to take a nap. You got to drink some espresso, maybe get a Red Bull, whatever the hell you do to stay up late. If you're on the West Coast, it's not late whatsoever.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Midnight Eastern. We'll be live with Jose, hour and a half on Gorilla Sports Radio for straight bet sports. Definitely be checking that out. All of us have retweeted it today. So if you need to make sure to subscribe to them, they have a Facebook page as well. So you can also check it out there if that's your alley, not mine whatsoever.
Yeah,
anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
No, I will say the fact that he's giving us an hour and a half instead of just a normal hour, I mean, that feels pretty good.
Well, there is
yeah. But
no, looking forward to it. Yeah, and for anybody watching, you can call in too. So call in, ask us a question. We talk about all things college hoops.
Yeah, and it'll be even better too after Boise State wins this game and clinches the regular season conference championship.
Yeah, because I know we'll definitely be talking Mountain West probably for a half hour. Maybe that's why he made it an hour and a half, because he had to dedicate a half hour just to that conference.
Had to get the Mountain West talk out of the way.
But other than that, we appreciate all of you who are tapping in with us. Until tomorrow, we'll catch you all later.